Welcome to the Communication Diva Podcast, episode 41. We celebrated Thanksgiving this past weekend in Canada, so the Communication Diva decided to make the subject of saying thank you her focus on this week's podcast. But before we get to that, let's start with an unscientific poll. Raise your hand, podcast listener, if you or someone you know was conceived and born by an act of your or their own doing. Now, raise your hand if you woke up this morning by an act of your own will. Okay, last question. Since you started listening to this podcast, your heart has beat a number of times. Please raise your hand if you are causing that to happen. Thank you. The results are in. None of us did a single thing to get here. Everything is given. Everything is a gift. Hands down.
Hey, this is Jen Swanson, and welcome back to Communication Diva, the podcast that helps to explore all areas of communication in the hopes that it will help you improve your communication with one another and in turn improve your relationships. It is Tuesday morning, October 9th, and today I wanted to talk about the power of a thank you. It was Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend and our oldest daughter's 21st birthday, and we had a large bunch of people over last night, and it was just a great weekend. So it made me think of all of the things that I am grateful for, and so I decided to talk about that today. The power of a thank you. The best thank yous, I think, are the ones that are unexpected ones. Like the one I got on Sunday morning. I got to work and on my desk there was an envelope with my name on it. And I opened it up and inside I found a photograph of a young man who graduated from high school in June and who is now in college and doing very well. And this letter was from his parents. And in it they spoke of Hillary Clinton's quote that it takes a village to raise a child. And they thanked me for being part of that village. They actually listed several specific instances in which I had been part of doing something for their son that they were grateful for. And one of these instances I had forgotten about entirely, and I was surprised at how simply bringing a birthday cake for this young person had made an impact. So it was a lovely letter. It was absolutely beautiful to receive, and I had tears in my eyes by the end of it, and completely unexpected. So that was a lovely and beautiful thank you, and one that I will definitely treasure. It's easy to forget to say thank you, and you know, there are all sorts of times that I probably should have said thank you and could have said thank you and haven't. So that was one of the things I was thinking of. I have a lovely family and good friends and a warm and comfortable home to live in and all sorts of interesting experiences to keep my mind learning and active. And sometimes I forget to say thank you to the people that make my world a nice place to be in. It's an easy thing to do to say thanks, but it's also pretty easy to forget. I've got a few photographs on the website at www.communicationdiva.com, and one of them that you will see if you go there is a photo of a craft that the children made this summer at our children's camp that I was part of, and it is a gratitude tree. And so it's a tree that's made with florist wire, the green wire, in, I think it was in little paper cups actually, with little plastic grass at the bottom. And the leaves were actually very thin cloth leaves that were cut out already. They were found at a craft store. And they were beautiful different colors, reds and oranges and yellows and greens. And they sort of looked like watercolor leaves. And what the people that were organizing the craft did is punch holes in each leaf and had the children choose leaves and write things on each leaf that they were grateful for, and then hang them on the wire on this tree. And I think the gratitude trees were beautiful, and they were great centerpieces for the kids to take home or to put in their rooms. And some of them had things like love and friends on them, and others had pet names and names of family members. And, some of them had their toys and electronics written on them too. But it was a thought-provoking activity and time for kids to think about all of the things in their lives that they were grateful for, and then to create this lovely little craft that was that they were able to take home. So that was a form of making a list. And you can make a list. You can write a list down, or you can do it in a more creative way like this with making a gratitude tree. It's apparently a good thing for you to do for your health as well, is to be grateful. There's a university professor and psychologist, Robert A. Emmons, who's written a few books actually, but one of the books that I've looked at is called Thanks: How Practicing Gratitude Can Make You Happier. And he says this about his research. He says, "I soon discovered that gratitude is a deeper, more complex phenomenon that plays a critical role in human happiness. Gratitude is literally one of the few things that can measurably change people's lives." And the book goes on, but from what his work has shown, and the work of other psychologists and scientists as well, is that the practice of being grateful can change your life, and as a result is actually good for your health. I also heard a child psychologist talking one time about how important it is to help children learn about being grateful for all of the things that they have. And so there are lots of studies out there. There are lots of reports out there that you can read about how it is actually good for your health. It reduces stress. It is good for your immune system, for building a stronger immune system. It deepens your relationships, and it helps you be more positive than being negative for all the things that you are lacking, perhaps. One idea to try is a nightly inventory, and this is a different take on writing a list. This is something that my family tries to do when we're all together after stories and prayers and before sleep, is to take turns saying what each of us is grateful for from the day. So we ask, what are you most grateful for from today? What are you thankful for about today? And it's a good reminder, and each person goes around and says something that they are thankful for, and sometimes there's a list of things that we're thankful for. Sometimes it might be something as simple as being glad it was sunny out, or being grateful for the morning coffee that was made for me, or being all together for a dinner. It might even be just, having a good piano lesson or something today. Whatever it was, it's a very good practice and a very nice way to go to sleep, thinking of all the things each day that we have been given. And if you've had a crappy day, somewhere in the day there was probably something that was good, and even focusing on that for a few moments will reset the neurons and make things positive, even just a little bit. So it's a good practice, and we do this nightly inventory as often as we possibly can, just saying what was good about your day, what was a good thing that you're grateful for today. Some people like the idea of a gratitude journal, and this is an idea that can foster a practice if you do it every day. And some people say, do it for 5 minutes every day. Take 5 minutes out of your day, out of your crazy busy day. Take 5 minutes to write down at the end of the day all of the things that you are thankful for, and reflect upon these things. And this can help bring a calm and positive outlook. And again, is very good for your stress levels and for your immune system. So you're doing yourself a favor by being grateful. Another thought is to thank somebody else each day. So an idea is to make at least one person each day your focus and to thank them for something that you're grateful for. So you can do this in person. You can do it via text message or email, or even better by old-fashioned handwritten post. So who wouldn't love to get a little personal card or a note in the mail these days instead of all those usual bills and advertisements that come in? Handwriting something and dropping it in the mail after having a lovely dinner at someone's home, or spending time with somebody, or after someone has done something extra for you, will brighten that person's day and will make you feel good at the same time. Thank a coworker for something they did for you. Thank a child for being nice to their sibling that day, or for being thoughtful, or even just for being the wonderful human being that they are. Thank a neighbor or a friend or a stranger. One of the most touching thank yous I ever participated in was to write a newspaper article thanking a man I had never met and still have never met. I don't know if he's still doing this. I think he was retired way back then. But he was a school crossing guard that I used to pass every day on my way to work at the hospital. He was on the route that I would drive past. And every day he would wave and give a huge smile to every single vehicle that passed by. When he wasn't helping children cross the street, he was concentrating on waving and smiling with his huge infectious smile to every vehicle that passed. And people would watch for him, and they would wave and they would smile, and they were concerned when he wasn't there. And you could just see faces light up when they saw him each day. And so one day I decided, this has been a few years I've been driving this route. This guy should be thanked. He's actually doing an amazing thing here by smiling and greeting everyone like this. So I wrote an article to the local paper, and it got published. And I never did meet him, but I did get a few phone calls from other people who were glad that I had written it, and who also wanted to show their gratitude to this person who was sharing his delight with strangers every morning. And I did hear later on that someone had cut out that article and laminated it and hung it up in the office of the school that he was the crossing guard at. So that was kind of fun. Another thing is to practice radical gratitude. And this is sort of a whole idea of changing your outlook if possible, and doing it little bits at a time if you can. There is a book that I have found to be very helpful that is called Radical Gratitude, and it's by Mary Jo Leddy. And I'm going to post links to Robert Emmons' book as well as to Mary Jo Leddy's book on the website at communicationdiva.com if you're interested in this. She is someone who lives in Toronto, or did for quite some time, and worked at a university and did a lot of work with immigrant people and people living in transition homes and things. And she speaks of North American culture fostering and this inbred sense of dissatisfaction and this glass is half empty attitude. And she blames most of it on marketing and advertising that tells us constantly that we are not good enough as we are unless we have this item or that item or this car or these clothes or we drink this beer. And until we do that, we're not up to speed, not up to par, we're not cool. And I have such trouble with that message, but it is everywhere here. And every time you turn on an advertisement or pick something up, life is going to be better if only. And it's this crazy consumeristic culture that we live in that is saying that you're just not good enough the way you are, and that's really quite horrible. So recognizing that we are really wonderful creatures the way we are is an important thing, and being grateful for who we are as is a really good place to start. So radical gratitude to me would be transforming thought processes in some ways, and becoming grateful for who you are and where you are and what you've got. And yeah, sure, we all like stuff and we want stuff and we want to be somewhere else, be someone else. But it starts at the beginning. And even if it's something really little, I'm grateful to have a bed to sleep in. I'm grateful that I have somebody that cares about me. I'm grateful, that I have this fabulous cup of tea every morning or whatever it is. Just somewhere, baby steps, The other thing is authenticism, being authentic. And with all communication, just saying the words don't mean that doesn't mean much. So actually meaning what is said by matching body language, paralanguage, which I've talked about before, which is the tone, intensity, inflection around the voice, and facial expression, matching all of that with the words thank you is vital. If you say a tossed off thanks very much, that's not really feeling appreciation for something, even something seemingly small. If you take a couple seconds to pause, look the person in the eye, smile, and say thank you for real, it's going to mean a whole lot more than just an absent-minded thanks that I see so many times, especially in customer service situations. So if you're going to take anything away from this podcast, if you're going to say thank you to somebody, actually mean it. Actually take a couple seconds, pause, look at them and say thank you with some kind of meaning behind it and be authentic. And I think it will mean more because it doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Sometimes it can just be a really heartfelt thank you. So I want to leave you with a little commissioning here. I can't prove this scientifically, but there are people who can. So I encourage you to research this if you have the time and the energy to do so. But I just know that it feels positive and life-giving to express gratitude to another person when it's genuine and when it's done from the heart. I also know that as I sat around my dining room table last night with 16 people enjoying food and drink and lots of laughter and lots of smiles, that I have more things to be grateful for in this life than I can count. And that Thanksgiving Day this year was truly a day for giving thanks for all of those wonderful things. So what are you grateful for is my question to you, dear podcast listeners. And I would love for you to come to the website, to leave a little note, to talk about the things that you are grateful for, to say thank you to somebody that you want to say thank you to. You can come to communicationdiva.com, and at the bottom of each post is a little bracket that has a number and the word comments. And if you click on that, it will take you to a place where you can either log in to Live Fire, or you can log in as a guest and you can post whatever it is you are grateful for in there. And I would love to start a little conversation and start a list. So come on over and say hello and tell me what you're grateful for. And I would like to say I am exceedingly grateful for all of you who take the time out of your busy days to listen to Communication Diva. That is an audience that continues to grow each and every month. There are more people listening from more places in the world. And I am grateful for every single one of you who take the time to listen. So until next time, have a wonderful week and take good care.